Muslims believe it's religiously that they can marry a minor today. Now, I've already explained this in 2 lengthy videos, breaking it down, how it came about, why it came about, and why it's completely rational for the time periods it was in. Please watch them over. But what the Islamophobe, the anti-Muslim guy, will press home his advantage in his mind. And he will say, yeah, fine. But what about today? Forget the past. What about today? They don't want to talk about the past because their own ancestors were doing that. But what about today? And here's the easy answer. The answer is yes and no. What do I mean by that? Well, sit down and listen up. Let's do 3 scenarios, and I will explain this both rationally, ethically, and religiously. And from our perspective, Islam is both rational, ethical, and of course, it is a faith based on in the belief in God. And all English people with an open mind will generally, at the end of this video, accept what I've got to say. At least I believe so. If you disagree, put your comments in the box. So first, scenario number 1. Imagine you are in a village in a complete wilderness where there still exists in the world today, and you're almost you are in a pre-modern era that could have been no different from 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Your village depends on itself. It depends on the menfolk to be able to harvest and catch animals, etc., etc. When they don't, you starve. If you get attacked by a neighboring tribe, you die. You get sick, you die. You have no access to any of the modern amenities. In that case, as I've already explained in a detailed video before, please watch it, on child marriage, then marriage is no longer about how good your looks are, right? Or let me, fall romantically in love. It's about survival. And so the family will look within the tribe that they have spent, generations and generations and generations in. They know everyone. They understand anyone. They understand the good and the bad. They will look to place their daughter in with someone and a family, not just an individual, a family that can support her even if the individual, her husband, dies. And so they can continue to support their children. So in that scenario, the priority isn't, let her have a choice of all the thousands of eligible men. It's she needs to survive. Her children need to survive. That they need to have the security, the maximum amount of survivability chance and the maximum amount of security she can get. I will marry her into that clan, that tribe, that person that go all the trappings of that, the powerful person of the clan, regardless of age, because guess what? I live in this small village. I know everyone, and I know who's going to treat my daughter the best and who's going to give her the best chance of survival. That's an ethical calculation. It's a moral calculation. It's nothing to do with perversity, and it is justified. So does Islam accept that? Yes, it does, because that's the right thing to do. If you disagree, then go and fight the lion on your own and see how far you and your daughter get. Get it? So now, number 2. Let's take a different time period or different scenario. Number 2 is you're in Afghanistan. The Americans have come and they've shot your family or your father, bombed your village and destroyed the country's economy. So now you're living a pre-modern existence. You're meeking out. You're the daughter of a widowed mother. She picks up plastic for a living, and she tries her best to feed you. Most days you're not fed. Most days she's not fed. That is the life of millions and millions of people. So it's not something that people don't, oh no, that's not reality. That's a reality for millions of people out there in the world today. Thanks to Western foreign policy. That child will never have access to education. That child will never, until the day she dies, have access to modern healthcare. That child will, in all probability, never get married. Who would want that child? That child's nothing but a burden. If anything, the only use for that child will be to abuse her or use her for some sexual gratification to make money off her. There is absolutely no chance for that child to have any real quality of life. Thanks America for what you did in Afghanistan, and then you claim about women's education. But anyway, let's just assume this scenario. Would the mother be right in giving that child a chance if someone who had access to healthcare, to the finances, to give her a better way of life, be morally repugnant, ethically wrong if she said, yeah, I want to marry my young child off to someone who can give her a chance in life, because otherwise she's got no chance in life? Is she wrong? Now, there is an argument, I'm sure, yes, she is. But there's also an argument that says, no, she isn't. Who are you living your Western life to choose whether that mother's, if she wants her daughter to go through the hell that she's going through? Maybe she wants to give that daughter a better chance. That's not for you to say, no, you carry on living, picking up plastic and die that way. That's not for you to point fingers. That family will make their decision. Are they making that decision of perversity because they're perverse individuals? No, they're making a decision based on the life that they have. And would Islam allow it? Well, this is an argument for Islamic juries, whether, which is ethically right, which helps the child the most. But it's a possibility that it would. And I'm sure many people that are listening to the videos would also think, yeah, if that was my daughter, it's not the greatest choice in the world, but it's a choice. If you met a nice guy, he's older, could he provide that for your daughter? You might, if that situation occurred, you might go for it. So again, is Sharia allow for that flexibility? Yes, it does, and no shame on it. Yeah. Western law doesn't, but Sharia does. Western law says, carry on picking pieces of plastic up, and we'll condemn you and look down at you if you've tried to get out of it, as we condemn child marriage. Third scenario, where it doesn't. Now, let's say you're a girl in the Western world, or in Dubai, or in Singapore, and you've got a great life. Yeah, you're not going to die. No one's forcing you to get married when you're young because of poverty or death by starvation, or any of these kind of horrible factors. You're a wealthy person living in a modern world. Now, if you started to say to young girls, look, we want you to marry, a young girl, to most young girls would say, no, there's no lion waiting in the corner. If I wait, is anything going to go wrong? No, nothing's going to go wrong. Then I'll wait. Now, if you started to say to these girls, no, you have to marry young, now you're flipping what's morally right. Now you're creating harm, psychological harm to that child, because she may not want it. Yeah, she doesn't want this because now she has the access, ability, desire, the luxury to have a different opinion, the luxury to make different life choices. So in effect, if you were to start to make people marry at a younger age, as per the last two scenarios, without a need, then you would in fact be flipping the moral compass. You would be causing oppression. You would be causing harm to the child. She might be upset. It'd be psychologically troublesome for her. So in effect, you are no longer creating a better life for this person. You're creating a worse life for this person. And therefore, Islam would say, no, then you're not allowed. Because you can't cause harm to that child. The whole point is to make that child's life better. So it's no when it makes the life child's worse. But if anything makes a child's life better, then it's yes. So that's the beauty of Islamic Sharia, and it expands to allow that. Really, that's all laws in the world that would try to come to that type of thing. But Western liberal law tries to act like a supremacist law. It tries to paint this two-dimensional picture of Sharia, two-dimensional picture, but make themselves out as if they're morally better. They just had these great laws because they're so good and we are so evil. And we don't know how to argue it, because in our minds we go, well, there's some hadith out there that said the Prophet married someone who was young, and that means I can't disagree with it. No, it's a far more easy explanation than all of that. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, let me know. Come on my lives and disagree with me all you can. I'm happy to hear the alternative voice.